Hello everyone. What with the coronavirus keeping me inside, I figured that it was about time I did a review of my new gaming chair, which is from the company Noblechairs. They've got 3 chairs at least in their range. This one is the Hero model, specifically the full leather one with the red stitching. I don't think there's any cloth variants, but they do it in PU leather as well, which is considerably cheaper than the full leather one. But I've read some really, and not just read, but seen some pretty horrific images of how the PU leather ones wear out over time. And to be honest, I'd rather just have a leather one. It will still wear, but it won't wear as quickly as what the PU one. It certainly won't crack like the PU one. And providing I look after it properly, it should last a very long time, hopefully. So when I came to looking at these chairs, I was a bit limited for how much information. I mean, there's lots of information about lots of chairs, but specifically what I was looking for, I wanted one that had built-in lumbar support, and also I wanted one that had a lock-in tilt function. So obviously you can tilt the back of the chair back on most chairs. This one, I can't remember what the angle is. It's not quite as far as what the Secretlab's Titan is. They go almost vertical. This one actually, I mean, it's probably easier if I just show you. If I just pull that back, so you can see that this one, that's about as far as that actually goes, okay? But when you're in it, it's further back than you think. And of course, on top of that, you've also got an adjustable base, which you can, hang on, if I just get that right. Now that's the height, so I'll show you how high it goes. And the adjustable tilt at the base. So actually, once you've adjusted the base right back and the back, it does actually go quite far. I mean, to be honest, I sat in it like that, and if you really wanted to go to sleep in it, I mean, they advertise this in a lot of these things, but why you would ever go to sleep in, I don't know, but you probably could, and I think you'd be pretty comfortable. Because this is the Hero model, this is actually slightly larger than the other chairs. From what I read, you wanted to be at least you wanted to be 5'10" at least, really, to be sitting in this chair comfortably, ideally over 6 foot. The reason I say you really want to be over 6 foot is because when the seat is at its highest point, and well, actually, do you know what? Even when it's at its lowest point, the base, with the base tilted all the way forward, I'm 6 foot tall, but when I sit in it, my feet touch the floor nicely, okay? But there's virtually no room between the base of the chair and my leg. So by the time you've added some tilt, and I normally just have it back and then locked on one, which is locked on here, okay? So this one allows you to adjust the bottom, right? And at any point there, you can lock that into place, okay? So I can lock it, and actually that sits there quite nicely. But if you're shorter or you haven't got particularly long legs, I mean, I've got a 34-inch leg, or 33-inch leg, so my legs are pretty long, really. But you'll get to the point where once you start adjusting any height or tilt, if you're shorter than me, your feet are going to be struggling to touch the floor, and definitely by the time you get to the top, you're not going to be touching the floor. And I mean, if I put it right up, I would be like that. So yeah, like I say, you've got your base tilt adjustment here. You can adjust it into pretty much 4 positions there, and then on this side you've got your lumbar support. This is built in. That's obviously tightened and that's loosened, yeah. Then this is the back tilt. Just lift it, and to release it, and obviously you just push back. So, so there you go. That's just done on that. You can just make sure that's located back to get it back. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff. Now these things, and actually I should probably explain. If you're looking at a Noble chair, although they're not exactly the same, they're very, very similar. These and the, what's the other one? The Secretlab chairs, they both basically share the same base unit. So the tilt system and the rock, all of this is all almost identical. And these are very, very similar as well. They have the same sort of positioning. I think the Secretlab ones are a little bit more rounded here, but effectively they do the same thing. So what you've got is you can tilt them this way, right? You can come forward, backwards. You've got in and out on that one, and then on this side you've got up and down, right? And you can lock them wherever you want. Okay, so you can have them out and then tilt them like that, and you can actually go forward, backwards. So you've got 4 sort of different movements there as to where you would want them. I mean, I generally have them pretty low and out, and by the time I've got the base in, that is about where I would have it, with maybe a little bit of tilt on the base just to support my legs underneath a little bit more. But they're pretty much, it's even in this kind of standardish position, it's pretty comfortable. You've got enough width. I mean, unless you're massive, and you would have to be big because this is a really big chair. But you've got enough room either side to comfortably sit. If you were just having a gaming session with a control pad or something, you could sit with your arms like that. There's no problem at all. These are never going to be in the way, unless you're really big. And actually they're enough just to sort of, I mean, for me, and I mean, I'm not the biggest of guys, but you know, my arms sit quite sort of just comfortably on the edge there. If I wanted them in, I can have them in, there's no problem. Rest my arms on there. I mean, it's great for when, you know, you're using the keyboard or whatever. Get both arms on there. You've got plenty of, you know, adjustment here. So I'm really actually pleased with it. I wasn't really sure too much about these sort of chairs before I bought one. So it was a bit of a gamble, really. And obviously you do pay a bit of a premium. So a chair like this in PU is about $350. I'm not sure if I said this before. This one's actually closer to, I think it's about $580 retail, but that's because it's real leather. So it will last, and you get a nice little box with some goodies in, some leather cleaner, and I think there's some cloths in there as well. And obviously the 2 cushions. It's really nice. Very, very pleased with it. But that was the one thing, that the base adjustment that I really wanted to know that it had, and this does. So you can, like I say, you can lock it into about 4 different positions, and you can also have it just loose, so you can just keep rocking up and down on it, sort of thing. You can just keep tilting, rocking the bottom if you want to. But I mean, I tend to just keep it fixed in the position I want it in. So what else can I tell you about it, really? Just turn the flash off a minute. So if I just show you on here, this was the other chair I was considering. This is the Secretlab Titan, but the leather version, and this is kind of the key thing, the leather version retails at, well, you can see the stay-at-home sale of 700 quid. But I mean, when I was actually looking the last time, you know, it was about the same price then. So, like, you know, it might have been about 20 quid more or something, but it was over £700. I mean, it's a really, really nice chair. Some people say, I can't remember what they said. Oh, that was right. Basically, this, I think, is a little bit softer, this chair. So it will appear, I think when you first sit in it, it will appear more comfortable. But I saw some, should we say, larger gentlemen who were using that chair, and they actually said that the seat base was too soft, to the point where once you'd sat in it for a while, you could actually feel the metal part of the base underneath, and it sort of would you know, it wasn't particularly pleasant for them. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's going to be horses for courses. I think out of the box, that's probably the more comfortable chair. You can get it in non-PU, and they start at, I think, $350, which is the same as what this chair is for PU as well. I think the difference between the Secretlabs and the Titan is, like I say, is that's fundamentally, the base is pretty much the same. That's the same tilt function and base as what we've got here, pretty much. I mean, if you just look at that. Right, and then if I just show you the one on this, you'll see it immediately. Excuse my knees. Right, so obviously mine's lowered right down, but if I just lower it back up again, okay. So just have a look at that mechanism, right? And then, do you see? You can basically see it's exactly the same thing. The armrests are very, very similar. They've got the same 4-way tilt. Pretty sure the Secretlabs has also got lumbar. Yeah, it has. You'd hope it would do for the money. Turn that off again. Yeah, I mean, it looks very, very similar. Looks really, really comfortable. I think that does come with a memory. Yeah, I think that's memory foam on the newer ones. The older ones didn't. But the key thing was with this is I didn't want PU, and I wasn't prepared to pay 700 quid. It was just too much. And I got a discount on mine. So although I said it was like 580 retail, I think I got it for like, just trying to think, it was less than that. I think it was about £5, but that was just because I had some discount. So that's £500 as opposed to dollars, obviously. And yes, so this is the Hero series, noblechairs.co.uk. But just to clarify, I'm nothing to do with them. I haven't been paid by them to do this review. I just did my research and it seemed like the logical choice for me. A, because this was £200 cheaper nearly with the discount, and also because it was leather. The base was exactly the same, pretty much. The arms were almost exactly the same. And actually, when I read the reviews on which was the most comfortable, they said that this one was firmer than the Titan. Right, fine, it's firmer, but actually overall probably the more comfortable chair long term. So it's going to be better for your back. If you sit properly in it, it will reward you. And I've got to say, since I've had it, I have not once sat here and thought I'm uncomfortable. I literally haven't thought that once. So yeah, the Noblechairs Hero. Like I say, can't make a comment on the PU. I do know that, like, I've had this what, like I say, about 4 or 5 months now, right? And it's wearing fine. I still haven't actually treated it yet. Haven't needed to. I probably will do soon. If I have any criticism about it, a couple of things I've noticed. The stitching, okay? And the flash kind of makes it look worse than it really is. But it's a bit inconsistent. Like, if you look along here, it's absolutely fine. Right? It's absolutely fine. But just here, it's a bit sort of like double stitched. And there's like a bit here where the red... So there's obviously a bit of... there's obviously a little bit of... I guess because they're probably partly handmade, are they? I don't know. But there's some very slight imperfections, okay? But generally, a really nice looking thing. It's very comfortable. I actually really like the red. You can have it without red in the leather as well. They do it in, I'm not entirely sure what the current options are, but I think there's one with just sort of a black stitching. I just fancied the red. Quite like red, so yeah. But don't really know what else to tell you. All I can tell you is I'm really pleased with it. Oh, the other thing was the lumbar, and I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but it has sort of got, I think it's always been like it, to be honest, but it sort of creaks a little bit, the bit in the back here. I don't know if I can demonstrate it. Let me see if I can demonstrate it. But if I don't know if you can you hear that? I'm not. So it's only when you like push back into it, but it has got a bit of a creak. So yeah, the Noblechairs Hero. Hope this is helpful. I hope. I don't want to put you off the Secretlabs Titan. It was just this one made more sense for me in terms of budget and from an overall comfort point of view, but based on the fact that it was firmer and that it would push me to sit properly as opposed to just slouch in the chair. And actually, you know, I wouldn't want it any softer than this. This is nice. So I think I made the right call and saved myself some money on a real leather gaming chair. But definitely, if you're a bigger person, definitely can consider this one. It is pretty nice. Thanks, guys. Cheers.